Welcome to the Project Management Prepcast, helping you prepare for the PMP exam. Here's your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner.
Hello and welcome back to the PM Prepcast. Get your ears and eyes ready for the PMP exam. I'm your instructor, Cornelius Fichtner, and in this lesson we are finally going to do something. Have you ever wondered where in the PMBOK guide framework the actual work gets done? Well, it gets done in the Direct and Manage Project Work process. This is a broad, overarching process. Here the plans are executed. You direct and manage those planned efforts. Approved changes, they may alter or modify what is being done or how it's being done or by whom it's being done, or you get the point. The important thing is you are getting project work done, whether it's aligned to the original project management plan or the current plans based on your approved changes. In this lesson, we'll talk about the objective and purpose of the Direct and Manage Project Work process. This includes getting work done and leading and directing the execution of that work completion effort and having something to show for at the end, like deliverables. The importance of having good plans to work and implementing and managing the type of changes addressed by change request, and the importance of having the right team do the work for you and working with the team to make certain they are as efficient and as productive as possible. We split this lesson up into two parts. First, we want to give you a thorough overview of what this process is all about and the concepts that you need to understand. Then, in part two, we'll give you the inputs, tools, techniques, and outputs and do a quick review. But guess, what might we be starting out with right now? That's right. Let's start out with a definition of the Project Integration Management knowledge area, because Project Integration Management, according to the PMBOK guide, includes the processes and activities that are needed to identify, define, combine, unify, and coordinate the various processes and project management activities within the project management process groups. And now, let's see how this turns into actual work for us as project managers. Every project is authorized via a charter. No matter how formal or informal it may be, Develop Project Charter is the first process we go through. This is the process of developing a document that formally authorizes the existence of a project and provides the project manager, you, me, with the authority to apply organizational resources to project activities. And the first resources that we apply and the first activities that we work on is planning. In the Develop Project Management Plan process, this is the process of defining, preparing, and coordinating all subsidiary plans and integrating them into a comprehensive project management plan. At this point, we know what we are going to do. This is what we have planned. Well then, let's go ahead and do it in Direct and Manage Project Work, the process of leading and performing the work defined in that project management plan and implementing approved changes to achieve the project's objective. As we are doing all of that work, we want to make sure that we are still on track, that we're heading in the right direction, and that's what Monitor and Control project work is for. The process of tracking, reviewing, and reporting the progress to meet the performance objectives defined in the project management plan. Remember, that was on the previous slide, our second process. But everything always changes, at least on my projects, so we want to have some kind of integrated change control. That's what this process here is all about. The process of reviewing all change requests, approving changes, and managing changes to deliverables, organizational process assets, project documents, and the project management plan, and communicating their disposition. And finally, when all is said and done, or rather, when all work is completed, we want to close the project or the phase that we're currently working in. This is the process of finalizing all activities across all of the project management process groups to formally complete the project or phase. And here's our overview of the processes and in which process group they fall. Previously, we looked at develop project charter, initiating, develop project management plan, that's planning. And where do you think direct and managed project work might fall? Remember, I started this lesson by saying, in this lesson, we are finally going to do something, right? And doing is, of course, just a synonym of executing. So the process, the focus of this lesson right now, direct and managed project work, is the only one of the processes here in this knowledge area that falls into executing. The main concept that you have to understand in direct and managed project work is that you are executing the plans. The plans are now put in motion. You and the team planned the work previously, and now it's time to get started with the work. This is the overarching process to perform most of the other processes in the PMBOK guide. Imagine the processes in the PMBOK guide are an orchestra, and that direct and managed project work is the conductor. Everyone in the orchestra watches the conductor and follows his or her direction. Of course, it's not actually the process itself that makes it happen. It's done by the project manager and the project team. Those are the people who make things happen. There must be direction on the performance of the plans, understanding what to do and when to do it, and so on. And of course, performing to expectations. And then, of course, there's also the need to manage the organizational and technical interfaces involved and interacting with the project. Let's take a look at a few things that you actually do. Our main focus is to deliver results. You must deliver the project results in order to achieve the objectives. If the project was chartered to produce blue widgets, well, then you better produce blue widgets. How you manage and deliver that widget is just as important. Good project management only spends the necessary amount of effort and time and resources. No reason to be wasteful or create waste or to do any work that brings no value. Which brings us directly to a sample PMP question. Where are most resources spent on your project? The answer is, of course, here, in the direct and managed project work process. And if you're spending all this effort here, it means you're also getting something back. And what you get back are, of course, deliverables that meet customer requirements. If the customer asked for a blue widget, well, then it better be a blue widget. But you can't just accept the blue widgets like that. Were they produced the way the customer wants them? There must be assurance that the deliverables meet proper quality standards and specifications. This also means controlling and verifying these deliverables, which is discussed further when we are going to be mentioning all the outputs of this process, including the deliverables. To execute all of this, you're going to need to staff your project the best way possible. So you want to find the right resources, train and manage them during the life of the project. Also, staffing is where you can showcase your project management, negotiation, and leadership skills. You also might need to work with other project managers in order to share or acquire employee resources that they have on their projects with key skills or capabilities, and you may have to negotiate with the functional managers depending on your organization's organizational structure so that they will release some of their staff to work full-time or part-time on your project. Beyond using your negotiation skills to acquire and maintain the most effective team, you are also negotiating when you're working with vendors and contractors or others supporting the project. You are going to have to obtain their quotations or bids, then negotiate the appropriate terms and conditions. Likewise, you are going to have to select the right seller, formalize agreements, and continue to manage them for the duration of the agreement. And have you ever had to go and ask your company executives for an increase in budget or change in schedule? Well, this too is a moment when your negotiation skills are needed, and there are more formal and informal settings for a project manager to use their negotiation skills. It's a good skill to have and keep improving. Direct and managed project work is also the process where you have to manage all the process interfaces and communication channels. Managing the interfaces between all the various processes to ensure that all parts of the project are running efficiently and in a coordinated fashion. For instance, conducting the processes of developing team, acquiring project team members, training them, providing them direction, at the same time informing them about schedules, risk plans, quality, standards, and so on, essentially integrating all the processes to be performed and the interfaces between them. Managing the communication channels between people, teams, and other stakeholders to ensure the right information is distributed to the right people at the right time with the right information is also something that you're going to be doing here. For example, establishing and managing the internal and external communication channels of the project team, as well as reporting status from the generated work performance data from various processes to appropriate stakeholders. And of course, where there are interfaces, there will be conflict. There's simply no project without conflict or conflict resolution. Do you know what the 5 conflict resolution techniques are on a high level? Well, they are collaborate or problem solving, they are forcing or directing, they are compromising and reconciling, smoothing and accommodating, and finally withdrawal or avoiding. We look at them in greater detail in the human resources lesson. Nevertheless, you are going to have to employ your people skills, interpersonal skills, and conflict management skills in order to accomplish your project's objectives. Reporting is all about collecting the plethora of data on the status and conditions of the various project activities, then consolidating them and presenting them to align with the needs of the intended audiences. Proper reporting enables you to track and communicate the progress of the schedule and which tasks are or are not on track, those starting early, those starting late, and much more. You can broadcast which deliverables have and have not been completed and the overall progress of the project. You convey information about the cost, for instance, how much money has been spent, needs to be spent, and how much is authorized for future spending. You also inform stakeholders on how the project is or is not achieving the quality standards dictated by the project quality plans, and anything else you, your project, and stakeholders require that it is in a report. But not only here and now, but what this information means in the future, which brings us to forecasting. Forecasting means making predictions or guesses of future status, events, and conditions based on current or historical information and expectations. And this information will give us the ability to estimate future performance of many things, such as start and finish dates and estimating completion dates, even as simple as expecting a certain deliverable to be finished and ready for review next Wednesday. Expenditures, cost and budgets at completion and other stages set by the project can be estimated in this way. This is accomplished primarily with earned value management and applying the appropriate formulas. More on earned value management in the cost management lessons. And then, of course, we can also look at trends. For instance, noticing declining or inclining patterns. Maybe you see the trend of dates slipping from a team programmer, presenting a pattern that may continue and cause delays later on in the project. Or conditions building up or presenting themselves. Maybe you see a trend in the meetings that we conduct on our projects and that they are causing more confusion than give direction. And that marks the end of part 1 of our lesson. Justine?
Keep a stiff upper lip.
Until next time.